Hello, sweet viewers. Annyeong. That means hi in Korean. I'm Christine with Kimbap TV, empowering you to live a happier and safer life, especially if you're a fellow domestic violence survivor. Well, this is a very special week for me. It's actually my favorite week of the year because October 14th is my wedding anniversary and October 17th is my birthday. In this video, I'll focus on my 3-year wedding anniversary and share a little bit about what it's like to find love again as a domestic violence survivor. After I left my abuser, I had some serious doubts. Can I love and trust someone again? Well, as you know, the answer is yes. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years from fellow survivors and their loved ones asking how I was able to overcome my DV past and move on to finding someone like my husband, Maddie. I'm more than happy to share my personal journey with you in hopes that it encourages you to not give up on that happily ever after too. Let's get started. So a few years ago, when my abuser pinned me down, looked me in the eyes, and terrorized me with his punches and curses, I knew that my life as I knew it was over. I had to move far away from him and pick up the broken pieces of my life. My faith was shattered, trust was broken, and at times it just felt like giving up. I was in a really dark place and had trouble holding on to any hope for a better tomorrow. But amidst of all the brokenness and chaos, I felt this tugging in my heart. It was God. He was with me at my lowest point and didn't let go of me. For the first few weeks after leaving my abuser, I sat alone in an empty house trying to heal, both emotionally and physically. I opened my Bible and I started to read and reminded myself of God's promises. They helped me to hold on to hope and to convince myself that my life was not over yet. I searched online for a local church that was a happy church where I can find some encouragement. I found one just a few minutes away, and during my first visit, the senior pastor started his sermon by saying, "We're a happy church." And then he played this music video parody of Pharrell's song, Happy, and I knew that was a sign. I got plugged into a small group of young adults at that church, and that's where I met Maddie. At the time, I had no interest in looking for a guy to go out with. I just wanted to meet people who I can study God's words with and who I can pray with. For months, Maddie and I met in a group of about 20 people every Friday night. We'd then break off into smaller groups of 5 and dive into our Bible study. Week after week, I noticed how shy Maddie was. But when someone asked him a question about our homework, his answers were always very well thought out. He also gave many cross-references, and I could tell that he was quite a nerd. I learned during our time together that he was super innocent. He never had a girlfriend. And when he shared that he was thinking about asking a coworker out, I gave him tips and rooted for him. That didn't work out. Thank goodness. He also said one day that he was going on a trip to Vancouver, Canada by himself for an entire week. He didn't know anyone and didn't really know what to do there. I covered the Winter Olympics and knew some people and places, so I asked for his email address. I sent him a detailed list of places he could visit and even a guy friend he could meet up with if timing worked out. A week went by and I never got a reply. Then I saw him at church. He had come back from his trip and still never wrote me back. I was ready to curse him for being so rude when that afternoon I got an email. Maddie thanked me for the suggestions and said he went to almost all of the places I mentioned. He also got in touch with my friend. In the coming weeks, Maddie came out to join me and my friends when we went out to eat. Then one day, he said there was this place he didn't get to visit while he was in Vancouver, and that was a Japa dog stand. It's like a Japanese hot dog stand. Maddie said there was one other location besides Vancouver, and that was at the Santa Monica Pier. He asked if I wanted to go eat lunch there, and I said yes. He was actually the first guy who picked me up in my house. When Maddie picked me up, he noticed that my house was actually in the same neighborhood as the house where he grew up. During lunch, we discovered a lot of other opportunities where we could have crossed paths sooner. We were both raised by our grandparents in Culver City, within walking distance from each other's homes. We used to get our birthday cakes at the same hole-in-the-wall bakery called Angel Maid, and Maddie got into UCLA but decided to go to Cal State Long Beach. And during college, we spent the same summer studying abroad in Italy. We were very possibly in the same cities at the same time. Isn't that crazy? But God works in mysterious ways. Maddie jokes that if I met him earlier, I probably wouldn't have been interested in him because he was too boring. I think I spent a good part of my life chasing after the wrong type of guys. I don't think I would have appreciated a straight-laced guy like Maddie if I met him too soon. But after my DV experience, I craved normalcy. And Maddie is not boring. He's goofy and quirky in his own way that not many people get to see. And I love that about him. We were friends for months before we started going out and defining our relationship. Maddie is about the most patient a guy can get, and he also wanted to make sure that I was emotionally ready and available before we started to date. Although I may never fully heal from all of my trauma in this lifetime, I became healthy enough to not let it keep me from stepping forward and pursuing my future happiness. I came to a realization that what happened to me was an isolated incident. I also learned about the characteristics of a DV abuser. I understood why they acted the way they act and empowered myself to recognize red flags when I saw them. Everything about Maddie is the opposite of my abuser. Maddie is selfless. My abuser was narcissistic. Maddie has built a strong foundation in his Christian faith. My abuser was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Maddie is calm and level-headed. My abuser was violent and volatile. Maddie takes responsibility. My abuser did not. Once I saw what an abuser truly looked like, I promised myself never to fall for that type of person again, and that's when I met Maddie. Over the past 3 years of our marriage, there have been no big surprises, no sudden changes in character, no aggressive or violent behavior. Time and time again, Maddie has put my best interests ahead of his own, and I feel totally safe and secure when I'm with him, and I trust him 100%. I realized how important it is to have that peace of mind when I'm with my partner. And I also recognize how rare it is to find a person who has the right moral compass and lives in accordance to that. So I hope this gives you a good look into my life as I heal from DV and find love again. Be patient with yourself if you're starting your healing journey. There's no deadline, it's a lifelong process, but as long as you put in the dedication and work to keep building yourself up, you'll get strong enough one day to say, yes, something really bad happened to me, but I'm ready to move on. And the day will come when you see another guy and say, okay, I know you're not my abuser and I will give you a chance with no cards stacked against you. You can start from a clean slate. I'll trust you. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons and share this with a friend you think it can help. Thank you as always for taking the time to be with me today, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.